Ready to go?
Mm-hmm. Let's do it.
Welcome to episode 113. This episode of 2OC, we talk about Disney lays down the law, HB has a rough weekend, and Anton watched the Joker without fear. I'm Al Flores.
And I'm Anton Duong.
Anton, how was your weekend? Or your
Uh,
week?
yeah. You already know. I've been sick all week, and it's been going on for the past 2 weeks. I mean, I've been to the doctor, and I told him I had the flu, but then the flu went away, and that's
hmm
when the cough starts coming in. And usually, I think during this season, I mean, this is probably one of the worst seasons on the East Coast right now. Is after the flu, you get about 6 weeks of cough.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is crazy. And he says it's normal, which is
Is it
kind of
annoying?
yeah, it's kind of annoying to me because I mean I hate the fact that there are moments where the cough comes out of nowhere and then all of a sudden it just stops. It kind of pisses you off. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things like the cough happens because your throat is irritated,
Mm-hmm.
but the cough is what causes the irritation to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
So my week has been, well, actually, it's been a full week because we recorded on Monday.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, I did two main things. Went to Not Scary Farm for the second time
Mm-hmm.
this past couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's been fun. I've liked some of the new mazes they've added to it. They've
Mm-hmm.
definitely like upped their game since I've gone. I think the last time I went is probably when we were in high school.
Oh, I went after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they've definitely upped their game on their makeups and some of their mazes. I checked out their new one, Origins, which like the whole story behind it is it's a old timey Western
Mm-hmm.
maze where like lawmen or cowboys, whatever you want to
Mm-hmm.
call them,
Mm-hmm.
are hunting down a witch.
Ooh. Okay.
And so as you're going through the maze, you start seeing all these like creatures that she created. So people that she turned into werewolves. Some of them have just been like kind of mutated, disfigured.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's kind of cool. Like I liked it, and some of the stuff I'm like, wow, like they actually did a really good job. There's a part where you're going through a corn maze,
Mm-hmm.
and the actors are really good at blending into the corn maze.
Mm-hmm.
Like they literally, like it's not like they sneak into the maze. They literally just kind of like stand against it, and all of a sudden like they disappear.
Mm-hmm.
I was
It's like
like,
a
damn,
trap
okay.
door that they go through. Some of
No,
them,
no,
no, they
no,
just
legit.
blend in.
Like yeah, like their costumes look
Mm-hmm.
like the scarecrows in some of the other parts of the maze.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're walking through it, like there's a guy that was following me. I was like, okay, he's gonna try to sneak up behind me and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. And then I stopped. I'm like, wait, where'd he go? I turn back around. I'm like, there's nobody. Is that him? Holy crap, that's him.
Yeah,
Like, yeah. So I'm like, damn, they're good. There's been some other ones, but I just know that that one's the newest one, so I'm not sure which other
yeah. The last
ones.
time I went to Not Scary Farm, it was when they had The Grudge 2.
Okay.
So that was one of the mazes that they had, and that one was really creepy because they also had the ring one too, and I went through that one also, and yeah, they had a scene where the girl was coming out of the TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that terrifies me every single time. Yeah. I think that was probably after high school. Like I think two
Yeah.
years after high school. Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely been a while since we've gone there, and I
Hmm.
I think because the impression is that Universal's is better,
Oh yeah,
but
way
like
so much better.
but not to still it's a really good bang for your buck.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think Knott's does a really good job because I remember a lot of our friends in high school. They for a high school job, you can work after. You can
Yeah.
wear the costumes and scare people at night. So I had a couple friends that actually worked there and did one of those things. Um, but yeah, like for this year at Universal's Hollywood Horror Nights, they have
Mm.
the second I think it's only the second season, maybe a third. I think it's probably a mixture, but of Stranger Things. So you
Mm-hmm.
get to see something different. So last year was like the first season. So all they showed was the house and then the forest and then the lab, and then I think for this time around they show the mall and they show
Yeah.
a couple other things too. I think the upside down world. Um, and the cool thing this year that they added was Ghostbusters.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, makes sense, especially because of the new movie. So they're trying to revive it. Not the third one is in the works.
yeah, yeah. It looks really cool, dude. I seriously want to check it out. The only reason why I'm not going is because
You're
I
kind
don't.
of over there.
Huh?
Well, you're kind of out of the way. Or
No,
are you
no,
talking about the one in Orlando?
no. The one in Orlando is fine. I have tickets. I can go
Uh-huh.
whenever I want. Because my annual pass covers with one Hollywood Horror Nights.
Oh,
So
okay.
the only reason why I'm not going is because it's not for pregnant women.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
really don't want to be responsible for that stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, I might go by myself, but I don't know yet. So
Ooh.
yeah.
Oh, and I misspoke. So the corn maze part of a maze is actually for another one that they have is called a pumpkin eater.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did kind of feel bad for one of the mazes. It's called Shadowlands,
Mm-hmm.
and this is in the very back of the park. It's pretty much like a Japanese, feudal Japan kind of era.
Ooh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
That's very
yeah,
neat.
yes, and like the design is great, everything's great. The only bad part is this is like in the very back of the theme park, near where like that old retro diner is.
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
Um, and this is like the first night we went, which probably the first or second weekend it was open,
Mm-hmm.
and it was probably midnight, and nobody was back there, dude. I think because all the main mazes, the new ones, they're near Ghost Rider, which is like near the front left
Left,
side of the
yeah, left
park.
side of the park, yeah.
Total opposite of where this one is. The wait time when we're going in, less than 5 minutes for
Wow.
Shadowlands.
Mm-hmm.
Really, that was probably as low as it can go because we just walked in.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt so bad, dude, because all these people, like all these like cat, I'm gonna say cast members, but actors in the mazes that are like, you can tell like they were not prepared for anybody walking through because there's nobody going.
Mm-hmm.
We were our group was like the first one they probably had in a couple of minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them are just kind of either not as into it or like they were just not prepared.
Eh.
Yeah, but it
Mm-hmm.
was great though. Like some of they had like a kabuki theater area. They
Mm-hmm.
had kind of geisha makeup for some of them, and
Mm-hmm.
they had a lot of they had like a samurai forest where some of the samurais are actually like kind of blended into the trees.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But
you know those in between areas where you walk through, like if you wanted to go to a different maze or something at a certain place, you have to
yeah,
walk through like certain scare zones.
yeah.
So I know that in not Scary Farm, they have like a cowboy area, a
Hmm.
zombie area, a chainsaw area.
Yeah.
So at Universal this year, they have Zombieland because they're
Ooh,
trying to promote the movie that's
double
coming out.
double
Yeah,
tap.
Double Tap. So there's people dressed up as some of the characters, and they're
Hmm.
walking around and they're trying to kill some of the zombies, and it looks really cool. You should check out some of the clips online right now. I really thought that they they I think they hired a lot of actors for this.
Hmm.
Like there's actual actors like talking to you, going up to you, and interacting with you.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, maybe next year I'll do Universal one because that's another one I also haven't been to in a while.
Yeah.
Uh, but so the other thing I did this week is I made my own bread.
Oh, nice. What
Yeah,
type of bread?
first, kind of like a French bread loaf.
So a
I just
baguette.
no, not a baguette.
All
More like
right.
the fatter ones, kind of like the ones
Mm-hmm.
that you'd see people make garlic bread out of.
Mm-mm-mm-hmm.
I just sent you a picture. Dude, it's surprisingly easy. I didn't like. I knew how like the bread was like relatively simple ingredients,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's just time. That's all it really is.
Yeah. Looks like
uh,
bread that Aladdin stole in the movie.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just made it. It's kind of I just made two loaves because a lot of it. I gave one to my girlfriend's family, which they loved it. They devoured it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's yeah. I might start experimenting with the different the different types of styles or like ingredients I might toss in there.
Yeah. Throwing some
I'm think
grains in there.
Well, that or I was telling my girlfriend before we start recording is I'm thinking of maybe like doing a loaf, but mixing in some Italian herbs
Mm-hmm.
and then using that to make garlic bread.
Mm-hmm. Mm,
It's kind of thing.
sounds good.
Yeah, yeah,
I
something like
like
that.
I like cheese breads. So if you can do that,
Yeah,
yeah,
just sprinkle a little bit on
yeah.
top.
Uh-huh.
All right, Anton. Anything else? Ready to get into the show?
Let me see. Oh yeah, we're gonna be talking about Joker later, right? Because
Yes,
we
yes,
both
we are.
saw that. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about that.
Yes,
All right, let's get into news, dude.
sweet. All right. So speaking of Joker, first news story is Alamo Drafthouse strongly urges people not to bring kids to the Joker screening.
Hmm.
This came out probably the Wednesday or Tuesday before the Joker premiered.
Yeah,
Uh, I I really don't know if this is because Alamo Drafthouse is they're aware of how intense the movie
I
was,
think it's everywhere
or
because when I went into the Joker for that um, preview night on Thursday, they had a bunch of signs at the very front of the theater saying that this movie is not meant for kids, not recommended.
but is that implied with the rated R like rating though? Like I don't know what
No,
I really think
okay. So I mean, you can only say so much with rated R movies. You know,
yeah.
you don't really know until you watch it. Like rated R just tells you that there's gonna be violence, there's gonna be nudity, some foul language, but this one is a totally different vibe than
Yeah.
just that. Um, so I mean, you can't really have like anything beyond a rated R movie to have like a rating system.
Yeah.
I would say this is probably NC-17 because of
It
the
really kind of
gore
has
and
to be.
yeah, but I mean it's
It's
very
more we'll get into the review, but it's more
mhm,
psychological than anything.
yeah, it is.
And it really gets mess with your mind. But I also wonder if some of that is because of the fear of potential threats, which brings me to our second story.
Hmm.
The Century Theater here in Huntington Beach.
Hmm.
On Thursday, it was closed at 7 o'clock because of credible threats received by the theater. I guess the police showed up. Apparently, a lot of police officers, because I have one of my friends that they were there when it happened.
Hmm.
Um, they showed up. I guess they're talking to management. They checked the area. They didn't find anything, but at 7 o'clock, they still felt the threat was credible.
Hmm.
So they just said, "Screw it. We're not going to risk it. Just close it. Shut it down." So at 7 o'clock, they on a Thursday evening, they closed down the theater.
That's
Which that
crazy.
yeah, which that's what my friend told me is they didn't even tell the people at the theater what was going on.
Hmm.
I guess it was just employees of the theater that knew what was going, or at least management that knew what was going on.
Hmm.
But audiences, they didn't know. All they knew was the cops were there,
Hmm.
and they were telling people to get out.
Wow.
Yeah. Which moving on to our third story, Oktoberfest,
Right across the street.
literally right across the street. Like you can be standing at the Century Theater and throw a rock at the front sign of the Old World sign.
Yeah.
Um, Multiple explosions on Saturday night.
Mm.
I don't know if
So
you heard.
yeah, I saw the tweet, but I don't
Yeah.
know the exact details. So go ahead and do that.
So the initial reports was that there was multiple explosions that happened in somewhat quick succession of one another. There was a video that showed, and I was at Knott, so it's packed. I'm in an area that there's kind of a dead zone, so combined with extra more people on their phones and all that kind of using up data,
Hmm.
it was hard for me to get information. But uh, witnesses that talked to the news crew said that they heard those transformers that are on power poles explode.
Hmm.
And then later on, they heard three explosions, like really close to each other.
Hmm.
So everybody's kind of like, I was with my girlfriend and her brother and his wife, and we are talking about it, like because the no information was coming out about this.
Hmm.
Connecting back to the Century Theater thing, they never said what the threat was. They
Hmm.
to this the last I checked today for that news story, the police have still not released what the threat was that they received.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we were kind of like, okay, well, what, like, how much of this is people exaggerating? How much of this is real?
Mm-hmm.
And when we looked at the video, it's a big red plume. It's not electrical. It looks like a gas, something compressed.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next update that the police department released was that there was 4 injuries or 4 people that were sent to the hospital.
Yeah, but there was
Two,
minor injuries, though, right?
yeah, 2 civilians and 2 firefighters.
Mm-hmm.
Both, all 4 of them minor injuries.
Mm-hmm.
So while my girlfriend had her hesitation, her brother and sister and her sister-in-law were kind of like, "Oh no, something happened. Like something happened." I'm like, "No, the fact that it's Oktoberfest. There's a lot of people there.
Mm-hmm.
If multiple explosions happened while the crowd was there, it would have been worse." So I
Yeah,
think what
people
happened
be
was,
trampling on each other, and a lot of things would happen. I
yeah,
mean,
exactly. So
yeah.
my thought was, and I think it's kind of confirmed over time by the later news reports, was that the transformer blew up, caused a power outage, which I did also get notification on the Nextdoor app, people asking why certain areas were out of power,
Mm-hmm.
which called the fire department. When the fire department was there investigating like the power stuff, there was probably a gas leak or something at one of the restaurants,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what triggered the other explosions, and that's why some firefighters were injured.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense because I mean, if the power is out, you can't really see anything, and a lot of things can happen during that time with no power.
Right.
Yeah.
And especially if there's, that would also explain the gas, and what that also would explain
And
the
can you
explosion we
imagine
saw.
like a lot of the digital stuff that is like powering all of the gas that's coming in and out?
Yeah.
Like those things have emergency shutoffs, but you won't see the shutoff if everything is like blacked
Yeah.
out.
Yeah,
No
exactly.
power. Yeah, so that
Yeah.
kind of makes
So,
sense. Hmm.
yeah, so I think that's what happened. So I'm like, but my conspiracy mind was just going crazy like, okay, seriously, within 2 days after the theater across the street from this place had like some threats made to it, multiple explosions happened.
Mm.
And I was just kind of thinking through it. I'm like, no, I have to think this out step by step. Like, what information do we have? Stuff like that. So,
Hmm.
I think it was just a really bad coincidence in Huntington Beach. But I'm glad, that the injuries that did happen were at least minor.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Anton. Move on to lighter news.
Yeah.
I'll let you take this one.
Okay, so Comic-Con in New York just happened. So
Yes.
they unveiled a couple things at the event, and one of the things that I got to see at San Diego Comic-Con was Snowpiercer.
Hmm.
But during that time, it was still very vague. I mean, they were able to show certain clips and a little bit of a trailer, but they didn't really show a whole lot because I mean it's a long way until the series actually come out, and I think it comes out during the early spring. Let me double check on that. Yeah, second quarter of 2020 is when it's going to be aired. So for the Comic-Con in New York, they were able to show a Snowpiercer intro, which is where they talk about the story, what's been taking place, and how Snowpiercer came to be.
Hmm.
And I think it's probably one of the best intros of telling a story to get to where they're at to tell the story right away.
Hmm.
And to tell you the truth, I think this is probably one of the best times to actually have a really good series that meant something, that we're kind of heading towards in that direction of climate change. Like, what happens in the future if the whole world is going to be frozen?
Hmm.
We're going to have another ice age. So this little intro kind of gives you a really good glimpse of what's going to happen in the future. And what do you think about the trailer or the intro?
I I was thinking at first it was gonna be just kind of like anime, kind of the Matrix Revisited, kind
Yeah,
of
yeah, I thought that too.
like Japanese style.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed it wasn't. I
Hmm.
think it kind of looked awesome that way, especially
Yeah,
because the snow, uh, a lot of the light, a lot of the character and shadows just added to the black and white aesthetic of the animation that they were doing. So I thought that
yeah,
would have been awesome. But
yeah. But they mix between like real live action and
yeah,
also yeah,
and then when they switched to the real life thing, you're like, oh, I guess it was more of a budget thing.
yeah. It is. I mean, they do a really good job with the whole entire set. Because I mean, when they were explaining the train, I forgot how long the train was. They said that the train is over 1,001 train long.
hmm
So it's a long
Parts,
ass
yeah.
train. Yeah. Can you
Which
imagine?
I still don't understand why a train.
Hmm. Why a train?
Yeah, I think I asked you this last time we talked about Snowpiercer, but I just don't get why. It feels very water worldish.
Yeah. The only problem is, I mean, if you're staying in one place, eventually, uh, the temperature is gonna cave in, and you don't have anything running on power because I mean the sky is always overcasted with like blizzard,
hmm
and you can't have any like solar system or anything to power anything. So that's why like you have to have like like a full, what is that thing where it's called where you can keep reusing, um like like those sea monkeys, how they could live
What?
forever. Oh, ecosystem. They have an
Oh, okay.
ecosystem on the train itself. So
I thought you were
basically,
talking about like I thought you were talking like perpetual motion machine. I'm like, that's not possible.
no. Yeah, so basically they make something, they produce something on the train, and they would take that and then they would power the train itself. You get what I mean? And
Yeah,
I know
so
exactly what's powering the train, but I don't want to tell you because that's gonna ruin the whole story because the plot line is based on this.
it's old people. They're just feeding the furnaces.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, but it makes
um,
sense, right? I mean, you have to have something that's keeping a movement in
I
order to keep the people alive.
Yeah, you have to have a certain amount of
Hmm.
momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things I have to watch the show myself to get sucked into that world because from the outside, it's just really hard
Hmm.
to suspend disbelief for a little bit.
Yeah, but 1,001 train. Uh, okay, so when I watch a movie, they sped up everything
hmm
from the very back of the train because you're starting at the very back of the train and then going to the very front. So because this is a TV series, they can take their time to go through like different trains.
Yeah,
But yeah, yeah. So I'm
that's cool.
still excited. This is really cool. I thought that's
So we
really
haven't
cool.
released it yet?
I think it's gonna be in like March. I think.
Oh, damn. Okay,
Oh,
so fairly
May,
soon.
May, May.
Still fairly soon.
Hmm.
All right. Moving on to the next one here. What's his Dark Materials? It sounds odd.
Very dark. Okay, so you are familiar with the Golden Compass, right?
Yes,
The
yeah.
book series. Have you ever
The book
read?
series and the failed movie attempt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Were you ever a fan of the book before the movie itself?
I didn't even know about the books until the movie was about to come out, which
Yeah.
I still haven't read them.
Hmm. So I had a friend that worked with me at Blockbuster named Joseph. Um, haven't seen that guy in a long time, but he was obsessed with the Golden Compass. Even before the movie came out, all he talked about with me was how good the story was and how in depth like all of these things about like the creatures and going on this crazy adventure. And then when the movie came out, he's like, "Oh man, it sucks so bad." Like he said, there was so many details that you can't really interpret into a 2.5 hour movie or a 3 hour movie. It needs to be
Mhm.
a TV series or something. So
Yeah.
finally, we're getting a TV adaptation of The Golden Compass. Um, and they're basing it off of the first book and with the original title for this storyline, and it's called His Dark Materials. And from looking at the trailer, It looks freaking awesome, dude. They kept the same designs from the movies. The polar bear still looks the same. I think the compass itself also looks very similar to what they had in the movie. It looks like they basically stripped down the movie and made it into a TV series, and I'm so stoked.
Okay, well, okay. First of all, I understand they're trying to sell this TV series, but this came out just after uh the first Chronicles of Narnia movie, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. That one I think it's kind of on par with like how big the world is and how complex it is.
Yeah,
that worked as a movie series.
Yeah, it does work as a movie series.
So I don't know if I completely buy his excuse, but then again, he is trying to pitch the idea of a TV series. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
he's a salesman right now.
Yeah. So, his Dark Material is they got a really good cast. The person that really stands out to me is Lin Manuel Miranda. He plays one of the main characters, and I'm so happy to see him being more active in the acting Hollywood scene, because I freaking love this guy. He's so good at acting. Well, you've seen Mary Poppins. He's so good in Mary Poppins, and I've seen like him in other things too, but it kind of shows you that he can go beyond his comfort zone from just being a regular Puerto Rican actor playing a Puerto Rican person. Because I remember in his Broadway debut, directorial, and also his whole show on Broadway is called In the Heights. And it's just basically about where he lived in his town in New York. But then when we got to see Hamilton, it showed a different side of him. But then we didn't really see a whole lot of movies or anything with him portraying like different characters. So when I saw him in Mary Poppins, it was a breath of fresh air. It was totally different, and he has a British accent, and yeah, he was all in it, and I really like that.
I'm looking at the cast right now. Now you got me stuck on Golden Compass.
Yeah,
I'm getting stuck on the cast. I didn't realize how many like big names there were in Golden Compass. Nicole Kidman, Daniel Craig, Ian McKellen, Sam Elliott, Kathy Bates. Like, dude, how do you not make this work?
Yeah, I know. That was a big selling factor for this movie, because
it was.
Yeah, because my friend, he was talking about like, oh, Daniel Craig's such a great actor too, and I think that's
this is before 007, way before 007, right? Because 2007 is when Golden Compass came out. Skyfall 2012.
No, Casino Royale.
Sorry. Casino Royale was 2006. Oh, okay, so he just got casted as okay. So this is between Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace.
Yeah, first movie I saw Daniel Craig in was Layer Cake, and I think that was in 2005.
I'm not seeing it here. Oh, Layer Cake. Yes, 2004.
Wow.
Yeah, you're close.
Yeah.
All right. What about Golden? So for this series, do we have a release date? Or yeah.
Yes, we do. So it's on HBO. Okay. And I think the date is November 4th, which is next month.
Sweet.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited. I still have HBO because I was watching Barry, so I'm going to keep it for another month so I can watch this too.
Yeah. Before Disney Plus kicks in. All right. So speaking of failed reboots, last episode, I think it was last episode, we talked about Saved by the Bell getting rebooted by NBC's new streaming service, Peacock.
Yes, Peacock.
So shortly after, of course, everybody, all the news networks, all the entertainment networks are going to bring this up to the actors of Saved by the Bell. Saying like, hey, how do you feel about the reboot? Stuff like that. Apparently, Mark Paul Glaser, who played Zach in the series, one of the main characters, And Tiffany Thiessen, who played one of the love interests
Mm-hmm.
as one of the main characters, they didn't even know about this until the announcement was made by NBC.
Wow.
Yeah.
They probably talked to their publicist before anything, or their
Uh,
casting agent.
well, apparently, so I think Tiffany Thiessen, she's doing another show on Netflix,
Yeah.
and Mark Paul Gosselaar, I forgot what he's working on, but it's not with NBC. So I'm wondering if NBC just couldn't get them to participate because they are competing networks,
Yeah.
and it might go against their contracts. Um, so yeah, now we're talking about a reboot with I think just Mario Lopez and the girl that played Jessie Spano.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, which now I'm not as thrilled about,
Yeah.
especially because the whole premise that NBC released was that Zach Morris, the Mark Paul Glossier, is going to be like the mayor or the governor of California, which
Maybe
apparently
that's probably why. Like, I think they'll probably have him for
now,
like a minor part.
but they didn't bring him in, so I think it's me like they're going to reference him
Yeah.
as like in the background, like on a news story
Yeah.
on the background of a TV saying Governor Morris or whatever.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. That's probably
Yeah, such a fail.
it.
I just had to throw that in there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Anton. So I think we might have different details as to what happened here.
Okay.
But last episode we talked about how Spider-Man's going to rejoin the MCU for at least one more movie.
Mm-hmm.
What's the details you heard?
Okay, so you know how recently Bob Iger released the book, right? So he's
Yes.
been going on this like tour where he's just talking about the book, and also a lot of people were asking him, so did he save Spider-Man? In a way he did, but in a way it involved a couple other people too. So I want to see what
Yes.
you heard with what I just said.
So the details that I heard was that Tom Holland went to Sony to talk about like, him wanting to be still in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
So he sat with, let me make sure I have the right name, Tom Rothman, who's the chairman of Sony Film, and like kind of urged them to say like, hey, I really want to like please go back to Bob Iger or Disney, whoever the person he was negotiating with, and start to negotiate again. Don't just shut this down. And I don't know exactly what the conversation was, but apparently there was reference to Tom Holland starring in the Sony Uncharted film,
Mm-hmm.
which he's already been casted on. I don't know if he tried to use that as leverage.
Oh no, I don't think so.
No, but it's like that was referenced. And then
Mm-hmm.
he also reached out to Bob Iger, he's CEO of Disney, and also asked him to open up with Sony again and come back to the table and start negotiations again for
Okay.
Spider-Man.
So usually for these type of negotiations, it happens between the studios, and
Yes.
it's usually the head of studios that usually do the deals with each other. So you know Bob Iger has so many jobs. That's not
Yeah.
something that he does himself,
It's
unless he really wants to, like Star Wars.
But I'm saying as much as as Marvel makes money for Disney, that's still just one revenue stream
Yeah.
out of
So
like a giant corporation.
So after D23, I think it was like a couple days or a couple weeks after, because I mean, during D23 was when the whole thing broke out, and you know, Tom Holland was there, and people were kind of questioning him, and he came up with a really good statement saying that, you know, it doesn't really matter. You know, I know that I'm still Spider-Man, so I'm really happy that, you know, I'm still Spider-Man. But other than that, I mean, there's really nothing else to say. But anyways. He calls one of his executives that he knew that worked for Pixar, also higher ups that knew Bob Iger. So he asked for Bob's email or phone number so he can talk to him. So Bob gets a message and he's like, "Oh yeah, go ahead and have him contact me." So they were on the phone. And basically Tom said, "Hey, you know, I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and I have a lot of fans that are really upset, and we have to make this work. So I don't
Hmm.
know if you can do anything in your power to make this happen, because I can't let this go.
Yeah.
So Bob's like, sure, I'll do whatever I can. So what does Bob does? He calls the executive from Sony, which has
Hmm.
nothing to do with the movie also.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But because of these two guys that are higher up, they're able
People
to,
listen.
yeah, people listen, and they're able to
Yeah.
pull some strings.
Yeah.
So that's what accelerated the whole negotiations to what it was. And I guess both executives were basically very involved at this point. So they're basically assessing what's the deal between what happened and why didn't it work. So I guess
Yeah.
that's when they started doing negotiations with the executive uh, level.
This is the actor version of "I'm telling your mom."
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Okay, yeah.
like,
So it's funny.
this went too far.
Yeah. So exactly. Kind of similar to what you just said. This was mentioned on the Jimmy Kimmel show, and Jimmy Kimmel was like, "Wow, it's like two divorced parents coming together trying to make it work."
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
Um, no, because you're right. I'll put it this way. Say somebody gets your order wrong at a restaurant.
Mhm.
Instead of complaining to the manager at the restaurant, you go straight to corporate higher up
Yeah. Exactly.
about them messing up your drink order.
Yeah.
uh,
But that's a
yeah, because I
minor
mean,
issue. This is like on a grander
because
scale.
these are multi-billion-dollar companies. You're asking the heads of those companies to, well, I mean, at least in Bob Iger's world, he's the head of the company.
Hmm.
In the Sony world, he's the head of the film division, which is still kind of high up, to negotiate one character for one of their projects because one of the actors asked them to.
Hmm.
It's very. I mean, I'm glad it worked out the way it did, but it's
Hmm.
ridiculous how high up it had to go.
Yeah. I'm really looking into this book that he wrote.
Oh, Bob Iger's memoirs.
Yeah, because it's kind of interesting. There's a lot of things in there that he mentions that I'm like, whoa, he's not even retired yet. And he's like telling all of these things that is pretty big bombs. Like, uh,
Oh, freaking a! The are you talking about the Star Wars one?
yeah, that's one of them too. It just kind of boggles my mind. Like, why would you say something like that? But I mean, it's good on his part. I mean, he's doing it for the company.
I think in that case, it's a done deal.
Hmm.
So the Star Wars thing was, uh, he talks about how George Lucas was, he felt betrayed by how Disney handled the Star Wars franchise after he sold it to them.
Yeah, because I think one of the things that Bob Iger promised him was taking the scripts into consideration that
Right.
George already wrote.
Yeah.
Instead, they
The
scrapped
overall
everything.
the overarching story that he wanted to do.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think Bob's reasoning was it was just too different
Hmm.
from what the existing films did,
Hmm.
and he felt that it would upset movie fans more
Hmm.
because it wouldn't be what they know about Star
Yeah,
Wars.
because a lot of people weren't too happy with the episode 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. Um,
Hey, it was a best executive decision.
it was. I
Yeah.
agree, and that's why. What's the the last night? The Last Jedi. What's the first one with Rey?
JJ?
Force Awakens. Force
Force Awakens.
Awakens.
Okay.
The one with Force Awakens. That's why it's so remnant of A New Hope.
Yeah,
Is
everybody
because they were
loved
trying.
that Force Awakens. Everybody loved it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because it's the same beats, the same basic story of A New Hope. It's very familiar to us,
Hmm.
so it's a very nice way to introduce mass audiences to a new trilogy,
Hmm. Hmm.
as opposed to trying to please the hardcore Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
All right, Anton. Moving forward here, well, staying with Disney, I should say. Disney bans Netflix
Whoa.
So more specifically, Variety reported Disney to Netflix. We may not what? Oh, we may not want your ads. I put we may not want your ants. Uh, so pretty much saying that Disney's saying that they will not air any Netflix ads on ABC, Freeform, or FX, which makes sense
Hmm.
because they are now competing, not just for entertainment, but their streaming services too.
Yeah, I
And
don't think it's just Disney. I think it's also Amazon too.
yeah, which I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
you don't.
Amazon,
It's not.
yeah, Amazon ads won't be on ABC also.
But I was saying, it's not like you see Netflix advertising other shows. They advertise mainly their Netflix originals.
Yeah, but because of that, I think they're probably going to delay a couple things. I think there's going to be a couple things that are going to happen, and yeah, I don't think that's good though.
Yeah, but I mean, I think they're just trying to establish themselves. Like this is how it's gonna be.
Hmm.
It doesn't the way it was worded. It didn't sound like it was gonna be certain, though. Especially the whole "we may not want your ads."
Yeah.
But it looks like there's just kind of a general guideline here saying don't count on us airing your ads.
Hmm.
So next story here, PlayStation Now has changed their prices. I didn't know it was this pricey, but PlayStation Now used to be 19.99 a month,
Hmm.
and it's now 9.99 a month. Uh, and for the annual subscription, it was 99.99 or $100 a year, which is now $60 a year.
Yeah. So I mean, they were one of the first adopters for this type of cloud gaming subscription.
Mm-hmm.
They sold these boxes that are kind of like super duper cheap, kind of like the Apple TV consoles.
Mm-hmm.
So you're able to stream the games anywhere in your house or away as long as you have that box.
Yeah.
So before, the pricing that you paid for was basically to be able to stream your games anywhere. And plus, you were able to do a couple more things besides just having it streamed to your TV. I mean, there was a library of games that were also included in that box that you're able to stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they were one of the first people to do that, but yeah, they had to lower their prices because Xbox is doing it now, and then in the future, a couple other gaming companies are also going to be doing the same thing.
Which the Google gaming service, that's going to be
Stadia,
it's
yeah,
competition. Right? Stadia is going to be in the same realm, right? That's going to be the competition
yeah,
also.
yeah. Stadia is going to be in competition. Xbox is also having something like that. Apple also have Apple Arcade,
Mm-hmm.
which is a gaming subscription service on the Apple TV right now. I don't know if you have Apple TV, but I have one, and um, it just popped up on one of the updates, and it looks really really cool. It looks like something that it looks like the games that you play on the iPad, but it's gonna be on your TV. So I might like that a little bit because I mean you're playing on a bigger screen. So yeah, kind of excited for
That
something like
works.
that. Mhm.
All right, Anton. I believe the next two news stories are yours. Go ahead.
Okay, so Avengers Damage Control. We've been talking about that for the past weekend, I guess. Past weekend.
Yeah.
Uh, um, it is an experience. It is, I think, Marvel and ILM Labs coming together to create a interactive virtual reality experience, and it's going to be at the Void, which we got to try out for the Star Wars. I think it was what was it called?
Secrets of the Empire.
Yeah, Secrets of the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of excited. This is very neat. I'm kind of curious to if you're able to play with 4 people or 2 people, because looking at the trailer,
It
it
looks
looks
like a
like it's just
duo.
2 suits. Yeah,
Yeah. Pretty much kind of referencing Pokemon, Sword and Shield.
yeah.
You have a tank and you have a DPS.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I agree. I'm curious about this too.
Hmm.
What? Because for the one we did, it was 4 players. No,
Hmm.
actually, I think it'd be up to 6.
Yeah.
Um, but we only had 4, which was fine. It still worked out.
Hmm.
Not 3 of us. 3 of us. Sorry.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, for this one, the advertisement only showed 2 characters. It's supposed to come out in 2 weeks.
Hmm.
I think I forgot the exact date, but mid to late October. So I'm kind of curious to see what else comes out of it, or what other previews comes out of it. Because right now it's just a teaser
Hmm.
with Shuri from Black Panther.
Yeah, and she's creating all these suits, which is kind of cool because Tony Stark's not around anymore. So I guess she's in charge of doing all the tech.
All the suits, which is kind of cool. I love the designs of the suits. They're kind of a little bit like a Wakanda patterns to them.
Hmm.
They look a little alien. It's kind of cool.
Hmm. I'm kind of curious to what type of adventures you could be doing. Are you basically trying to clean up Earth, or are you trying to do like a trial? This is,
Yeah,
could be very
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. You don't exactly know what the mission is. You
Hmm.
just know, you just see 2 suits
Hmm.
created by Shuri.
Hmm.
To, yeah, it's just one with has a giant shield and one looks like it's be able to attack better.
Yeah, I think for these experiences, like $35 or something like that on
Uh,
adamtickets.com.
no, I think it was through the Void website. It's $25, 24
Oh, that's not
bucks.
too bad. I remember it was like
No,
30 something.
I could be wrong, but I
Hmm.
just remember
Oh,
it
probably with
was
the fees and tax and all that stuff.
oh, maybe. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
Hmm.
All right, Anton. And our next story here.
Okay. Our last story of news is The Walking Dead is having another spin-off, and they have the first trailer that they showed at New York Comic Con. Okay, so I mean, I don't. I only saw a couple episodes of the other spin-off that what was that spin-off called?
Oh, Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah, Fear of the Walking Dead. I mean, I saw a couple episodes. I was like, oh, right, it's okay. It's not great, but I guess they had to, milk it because it's the Walking Dead series. And I feel
Yeah.
like this is the same thing too. I mean, this one's being more focused on a younger group of kids, kind of like in their college years, where this takes place years after the zombie outbreak. And there's a town that they're very civilized, and they have all these people like trying to teach each other how to defend themselves. And then all these kids are basically saying, "Oh, we got to get out of here. We can't stay here forever. We gotta, go out there and explore and do more adult things." And I guess that type of story sense makes sense because they're just trying to.
I'm getting out of this town. I'm gonna make it out there.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean it's kind of funny when you think about it that way, but I don't
Yeah.
really think this is something that people are going to want to see because I mean the viewers of The Walking Dead has kind of declined. There hasn't been an uprising of more new viewers or anything like that because like from the very beginning I remember your brother saying there's a lot of characters that he really liked from the graphic novel that never really
Yeah.
made it through to the end.
Yeah, but that's kind of the whole show, though. They don't want you to get attached to a certain
Yeah,
character,
but
or they
that's
do, but they don't. They want. They say that kind of adds more uh realism to the show.
yeah,
Is
but they
that
they
it?
they kind of
Nobody's
fucked
safe.
that they kind of fucked that up because they kept those certain characters for too long.
Oh yeah, they're clear. They know those characters that make them money, and they're keeping them longer than they should have.
Yeah, I think they should have just killed them off so then they can start, you know, bringing other characters to be
Yeah.
like, new favorites.
But that's kind of a producer decision or like
Yeah.
a studio push. Like nope, nope, nope.
I'm
The
pretty sure
our
that's what happened to Frank Darabont, who started the whole entire series on TV, and then he got kicked off.
yeah, because you could studio executive like no, our studies show that these 3 characters are what the fans connect with the
Yeah.
most. You can't get rid of any of these.
Because you remember when you first watched the first season, you were hooked on. You know that they're being very true to the graphic novel itself.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
almost scene by scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot I forgot what the best friend's name was. Uh, but like in the comic
Shane.
book, he dies within huh?
Shane.
Yeah, Shane. He
Mm-hmm.
dies within the first like couple pages of the comic book.
Mm-hmm.
In the show, he lasted like an entire season.
Yeah.
I think 2 seasons. I think he didn't die until the second season or something
Yep.
like that. So
Yeah.
they definitely changed it up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Anton. I think that's it for news.
Okay.
Ready to move on to our
Apps.
app
Yeah.
segment.
Let's go ahead and do that.
All right, Anton. Apps. And we're not talking about appetizers. This is more of apps which we haven't really visited in a while.
Mm-hmm.
But there's two apps that I've been playing. The first one being Pokemon Masters.
Mm-hmm.
I downloaded this when it came out, but I haven't really had time to explore it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you download a new game or get a new game, there's that initial investment. Like you need to invest at least an hour into the setup,
Mm-hmm.
either tutorial, the story that's trying to tell you or whatever. But you can't just kind of quick play it and stop.
Yeah.
So while I was at Not Scary Farm in line, I started playing it.
Oh. So what do you
Uh,
think? So tell me what the gameplay is like.
So the gameplay is very much like a combination of Pokemon Stadium and the original battles in
Mm-hmm.
the old school games, like the
Mm-hmm.
battle mechanics, turn based.
Mm-hmm.
But in this one, it's you and two other trainers that are battling three other trainers. So it's 3-on-3, uh, and so you can do different combinations of the like Pokemon attacks, and it just adds a really good dynamic. And this is kind of like those games that you build your own team,
Mm-hmm.
similar to like Dr. Mario. So as you go through the game, you unlock certain characters, certain trainers, and they can join your adventure. You can switch them up, and
Oh, so
you
it's
can
kind of
level
like
them up.
I have a better comparison, but I don't know if you play it. It's called Fire Emblem.
I haven't played it, but yes,
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
yeah, because you
Yeah,
basically get new characters and then you can switch them out. You can
mhm.
build upon your
or
character, upgrade your character, the traits, and all that stuff.
or
Yeah.
S- or Smash Brothers to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. So to start you off, you get Brock and Misty.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I like about this one. They're actually bringing some of like the old school trainers to it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you can actually design your character and stuff like that. So I'm still trying to get into the first couple missions, but so far I like what they've done with it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to unlock more lands and see what other adventures there are or
Mm-hmm.
what type of events they start doing.
Mm-hmm.
But so far it's a nice free game if you're a Pokemon fan and you're a fan of like Red and Blue or Pokemon Stadium.
So, question is, how do you get to pick your own Pokemons and stuff?
I'm still getting there.
Okay. All right.
But they do start you off with Pikachu, and I think that's because I'm still technically in a tutorial phase.
Okay.
So I don't know if I get to capture Pokemon or how do I get new ones, but
Mm-hmm. It's
little by
probably
little,
like
I'm still
those booster packs or something, because those seems to be
probably,
pretty popular.
probably. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think there's any catching mechanic in this one, so it's probably you unlock them, kind of like Smash Brothers, or you get them through a random loot boxes, or you can probably purchase them because there is a currency in the game.
Yeah. So, with that being said, Nintendo has been pushing out a lot of pretty interesting games and everything on the iPhone nowadays. Like we just recently got Mario Kart.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if some of these are getting pushed out because of the new Apple Arcade, where was it Apple Arcade? Apple was it with
Yeah, Apple Arcade.
the subscription? Yeah, subscription service.
But isn't
Uh,
Mario Kart free?
it
I
is
think.
free.
Yeah.
It is free, but I'm saying I think that's why there's a push for more apps
Mm,
now.
okay.
So Mario Kart is how do I put it? The aesthetic and the feel of it is very much like the retro Mario Kart or the Mario Kart we know now in the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the unlockability of characters is similar to what we've done in Smash Brothers, where you unlock them randomly, or Dr. Mario, where you kind of earn points and then unlock those characters.
Unless you pay money.
Unless you pay money, which
Yeah.
the mini purchases.
Mm-hmm.
That is where the similarities end for me.
Mm-hmm.
The driving mechanics, I was thinking it was either going to be some sort of virtual steering wheel or even tilt,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the ocean. No, it's a swiping motion with your finger, left, right.
Uh-huh.
And I honestly cannot figure this out. I've tried the tutorial at the beginning multiple times, uh, and it's kind of like a driving course that takes you on to try to like get used to making turns, and you kind of have to like go through the center of rings to get points as you go through the tutorial. I can maybe get like 2 of those rings. I honestly cannot figure out the drive mechanics. So I really want to switch up because it gives you 2 options, either that one or I think there's like virtual controls on there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they have it. They have it either easy driving or drift mode.
Mm-hmm.
Drift mode is where you use the swiping motion.
Yeah.
I can't figure this out. No, I was waiting for people in our group chat, our gaming group chat, to talk about it, and apparently I'm the only one that's tried it so far.
Yeah. All right. So it looks like I'm gonna have to try it out. I haven't got a chance yet.
Yeah, I think you're more Nintendo knowledgeable than I am.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious to see what the learning curve for you is.
So besides playing Dr. Mario for me, we've been talking about games a little bit on the iPhone. So on the new updates of iOS 13, right? iOS 13?
Yeah, I think there's several patches, but yeah, 13.
Yeah, so on this new iOS 13, there is a new app called Shortcuts. Have you seen this?
No.
So there's that app called Shortcuts, and it's an Apple app that's included with iOS 13. The cool thing about this is it's kind of similar to their current application on the Mac called Automation. And what it does is it customizes a action for your phone. So let's say every day you want to tap on a button and it automatically opens send emails or whatever you want it to do. Mm-hmm. So in this case, let's say once in a while it comes to a time where you have free time and I have free time, but you wanted to check to see if I had free time.
Okay.
There would be a button on your phone that you can tap, and I'll show you on the screen right now. So you see this little button right here. I made a little button for it. So when you tap on that, what it does is it opens up that shortcut, and it goes to your name.
Okay.
And
you see my bread pick?
Yeah, you see your bread pick, and then it has a message right here saying OW.
Oh, you bastard.
Yeah, so all it does is it just gets it ready, and all I need to do is
a macro.
Yeah,
you just created a macro.
Yeah. So that's one of the coolest apps right now that I saw that is on the iOS 13. That I'm kind of like, that's pretty cool. But there's a couple other things that you can do too. Like you can schedule a certain time where you can send emails to a certain person. So you can just, tap on that button and does everything for you.
It's called the spam button.
Yes. Yep.
That's cool. Yeah, I did see that on the here, but I wasn't really sure what it did. But okay, good to know. So to set it up, you just do like it records your motions once you like start the start record.
No, it doesn't record the actions. It only has set actions already, and it only gets to that certain part. It won't hit send for you, so that's a thing that you need to do yourself
to avoid people using it for spamming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Anton. I think that wraps up our app segment, right? Anything else?
Nope. I think that's it. Let's head on to movies.
All right. Well, just quick. I still... I'm not going to review it. I'm just going to say I just downloaded Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. That's going to be the next app I want to check out.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Movie time. All right. So movies, box office. So this is for the weekend of August August, October 4th or the 6th. These are only estimates since we're recording Sunday night. Number one, no surprise here. Joker with 93.5 million. Number two, Abominable with 36.8 million. Sorry, 37.8 million. Sorry. Number three, Downton Abbey with 73.6 million. Four, Hustlers with 91.3 million. And number five, It Chapter 2 with 202.2 million. So if you aren't aware, with 93.5 million, that means Joker has delivered the largest October opening ever, beating out actually, it might not be the largest one. Okay, so it beat out Venom, which was 80.25 million.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make any sense. So this is according to to Box Office Mojo. They said that Joker set the new record, but it says it just missed out on Justice League in 2017 with 93.8 million. So I think they mean they beat last year's opening weekend or opening October weekend. But yeah, it's close. I mean, they missed out on Justice League by 300,000.
That's quite a bit.
That's close. I'm wondering since these are just estimates, I'm wondering if that might actually turn out to be true by tomorrow. But as of right now, it looks like it just came short of Justice League, which is not bad because Justice League had a lot of hype for months. Joker, I feel we didn't really hear much buzz about it until summer.
Wow.
Let's see here. Where'd my notes go? All right, Anton. So before we get to Joker talk, you want to talk about the Infiniti Saga?
Yeah. So the Infiniti Saga, Marvel is releasing as a box set, and it's 23 movies total.
Yeah.
Kind of tempted. Until
How
I saw
much?
the price.
What does it come with?
It comes with the 23 movies and then a couple of pamphlets of the artwork and stuff. Let me see here. Let me get the exact details because I know Best Buy is pushing that out. I think also Amazon too. Infiniti.
It wouldn't be surprising that Amazon's pushing it hard. This is strictly something you would buy as a collector. I don't know if you'd necessarily open it up unless you wanted the art to, keep in display. But I mean, Disney Plus is going to have these movies, so
yeah. So you're getting an exclusive Matt Ferguson lithograph, which is artist doing the graphics, the poster for it, and then you get a letter from Kevin Feige, and you also get a numbered limited edition collection, kind of like a plaque with the
sequence number or whatever.
Yeah, signatures from the original Avengers, original 6. And then you get a bonus disc that's not available on digital. So you probably won't be able to see this anywhere else. Never before seen, deleted, and extended, plus more with an exclamation mark.
But the thing is, with Disney Plus, we've been hearing that the movies are going to include DVD features or DVD extras.
Yeah, but not the Infiniti Saga features.
I'm good. Yeah. So what's the total here?
So you're looking at a price tag of 12 months of financing, $45.84. So it comes out to be $549.99.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Pass. So $550. Damn. For how many movies?
23.
It's about $24 a movie. That's still pricey.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, again, this is kind of something you do as a collector, that you'd buy it, never really open it, and just watch the movies on Disney Plus or Netflix, whatever thing you buy them on.
Mm-hmm.
Pass. All right, Anton, let's get into Joker talk.
All right.
uh, First of all, I think fair warning to listeners, we're gonna go straight into spoilers because I thought about my notes and there's no way for me to talk about any of these things without giving spoilers away.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
we're
it's
just
not,
gonna
it's
give
not,
it a quick rating. Do you want to do that, or you want to wait till the very end?
yeah, yeah. You can go first. I'll do. You do.
Okay, so I'm gonna give this movie a 4.75 out of 5.
Um, I'll go 4.8.
4.8.
Yeah. I was gonna go 4.9, but it's just so. I need to rewatch this movie,
Mm-hmm.
but I need to prepare myself to rewatch this movie.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So fair warning, spoilers. Then again, I think for the most part, you know the story of the Joker. You know what he turns into. This is just kind of little things that happen in the movie. My first note I have here is I legit had anxiety throughout the movie.
Really?
Yeah, I caught this probably 30 minutes into the movie. I noticed it that I kind of had a little bit of anxiety. Not overwhelming, not like I was like clutching the chair or whatever, but I did kind of feel it.
Like disturbed?
And yeah, something like it's something uneasy about it, like
Mm-hmm.
something's creepy about it. And I don't know if it's just Walking Phoenix's acting, the character,
It is his
or
acting
or
because it's
no,
so
or
intense.
or the combination of what happened literally the night before
Mm-hmm.
in Huntington Beach when at Century Theater when they had that that threat, that credible
Mm-hmm.
threat, quote unquote threat, credible threat. Um,
I'll tell you what. When I was watching the movie halfway through too, I started looking at the exits.
yeah. Also, because there's a group of people called Juggalos that I think are gonna be really happy about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they might be using this. I will not be surprised if there's a lot of Jokers at LA Comic Con this weekend.
Yeah.
So let me see here. What are my notes here?
They basically banned any
Cosplay.
type of costumes, yeah, cosplay
Yeah,
for the screenings of this movie. So
yeah. So the note I put here is that he is just so damaged and unstable that whenever life kicked him, it just made you think, "Oh crap!" You know, this is what makes him snap.
yeah,
This is what happens. Like I think that's what it is, that cringe factor. And even my girlfriend, she kind of kept like leaning over. She's like, why do they keep doing this? Like they don't
it's
realize what they're
horrible.
doing.
Yeah,
Yeah, like you
but
could.
that's the thing about Gotham City is though, like the city itself is like a cancer.
Yeah,
Like nobody in that city is basically learning how to be a decent human being.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
everybody in the political world in Gotham is basically corrupted. The cops, the mobsters, everything about it.
yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay,
yeah,
let me tell you what. Like the thing about this Joker, that compared to like a lot of the other ones in the past that we've seen, um, this one is very intimate. Like you really get to like this is basically his moment to shine as a uh, individual character because we've never seen the Joker in a movie like this. I mean, we've seen it in I've seen him in uh, the Killing Joke.
oh yeah.
The,
Yeah, the Killing
the
Joke. The one.
the Killing Joke. Yeah, I saw the animated one, and I also read the. I actually have the graphic novel of it. Super dark,
Yeah.
and I think that by far is the only one that really defines on how insane he is.
Mm-hmm.
And this
Well,
movie gives that vibe.
Yeah, and there's different variations of the Joker. There's
Hmm.
some that he comes off as very, uh, there's no way to put it. He comes off as kind of a joke.
Hmm.
Um, he's not really serious. He's kind of a wacky character. There's other ones where he is just chaos.
Hmm.
There's no rhyme or reason. He just does it for the sake of upsetting the status quo. And then there's this type of version where it's just uh, he's just crazy. Like
Yeah.
it's just he's broken.
And you could see it
He's
in
just
that
unstable.
bus scene, when he gives that card to that lady,
Yeah,
and she has no sympathy for him, and
yeah.
he's laughing uncontrollably, and you feel bad for him. And I think that's the reason why like Joaquin is so good at putting all of these things into emotions, and you can really see it on the screen. Is that you could see how uncomforting it is that he doesn't want
Uh,
to laugh.
also, also that joke, that laugh though. I love how the subtle note of the laugh slowly becoming the Joker laugh that we recognize.
Yeah,
It starts off as very like hysterical laughing to like a very powerful
yeah. Mark
cackle.
Hamill perfected the laugh
He did.
for
Yeah.
all the animated series, and we're so accustomed to that. And seeing Joaquin do it on the spot in the movie is insane. Did you hear about the whole process on how he got casted into this and all that stuff?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so he was already casted. They didn't even have to like audition him,
Yeah.
but he insisted Todd Phillips to like come to his house so he can audition.
Yeah.
And Todd's like, you already got the part. You don't need to audition. He's like, I want you to come here so I can audition. He's like, fine. So he comes over, and basically what Joaquin did was he started, creating the laugh.
Hmm.
So he wanted to show Todd Phillips, like, is this the laugh? Like, this is what I came up with, and you tell me what you think about it. So he did that amazing laugh,
Hmm.
and Todd was like, his mind was blown, and he
Yeah.
told Joaquin, he's like, that is crazy. This is people are gonna blow their minds. So
Yeah.
that's what ended up happening is everybody, like, even the trailer when the first trailer that came out that had his laugh blew everybody's mind. The whole internet was like on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a recent interview that Joaquin Phoenix did while, uh, promoting the movie, where he said that the laugh, uh, over time, he thought it would just get easier and easier, and he said it was the opposite. Once he nailed it down, he felt it harder and harder to nail it again.
Hmm.
And it seems like a very fleeting thing. I almost feel like the Joker is a curse for actors. Like maybe you don't want to perfect being the Joker. I mean, look at
No,
Heath
it really
Ledger.
messes up with your mind.
I think because of how messed up the character is, if you really absorb him, he becomes like he destroys you. Like again, Heath Ledger, like he went full on like immersed into this character, and it cost him his life. And in this one,
Even with Jack Nicholson too, like even when
he
he
started to
was,
feel it.
yeah, he started to feel it, and he like one of the first things that he asked him for inspiration was, don't get too involved in it. You're gonna go down a rabbit hole, and you're not gonna be able to get out.
Because I think part of the Joker is his motivations, regardless of how crazy or chaotic they are, he rationalizes it. Like he believes in what he's doing.
Hmm.
Uh, so yeah, it's a very dark alley to go down as an actor,
Yeah, especially if you do
because
method acting,
yeah,
it's very intense.
yeah. So and that's one of my notes here is Joaquin Phoenix was amazing both physically and psychologically.
Hmm.
Uh, again, this is again props to the director and to Joaquin Phoenix. There were scenes where uh, Joaquin Phoenix looked like a freaking skeleton.
Hmm.
like his body was just like you could see his rib cage and his stomach probably sunk in 3 inches below his rib cage. Uh, and he just looked so fragile and some of that. But as he became more and more the Joker we knew he'd become, he got a little more. He was so skinny, but muscular, like his stomach. He went from the beginning of the movie where it was very like, it was a crevice. He was like a walking skeleton, to near the end when he was getting dressed. The guy looked like ripped. He looked like he had abs. Like he looked more confident, and like I think that added to that role. And there's those little details that I think make this movie amazing. The other thing that I'm kind of curious to see if you caught, the lighting. Did you notice at points where he transitioned or he took a step towards the Joker, the scene had a lot of flickering lights.
Yeah.
Like the subway when when he was starting to get attacked, the lights started flickering. Moments before he killed the guy,
Mhm.
the lights went dark and then back to light again. And then again when he was in the bathroom doing his oh, what's it called? Uh, what's that thing with the old Asian ladies in the park do? That martial art?
Tai Chi.
Tai Chi. Yeah, he did the Tai Chi in the bathroom to calm himself. Again, the flickering lights as he transitioned back to uh,
Okay, this is
himself.
something I don't know if you noticed, but throughout the whole entire movie, well, this is all based on how he can't really control his laughter.
Uh-huh.
From that subway scene and on, you could
He
see
controlled it.
that. Yeah, you could see that he can control his laughter,
Yeah.
and that's when he kind of kicked into that. Like I don't really care about anybody anymore. I know who I am, and that's when everything started
Yeah, it
making
was
him
almost.
become the Joker.
Yeah, and I think it was supposed to represent that uncertainty,
Hmm.
or that so it's sort of a tick that he developed trying to hide who he really was.
Hmm.
And that comment he made of he's tired of pretending to in reference to killing the people, he's tired of pretending that he feels bad for killing those people.
Hmm.
Like stuff like that. Like he's showing his true self.
Hmm.
He's no longer pretending to be what he thinks society wants him to be.
Yeah.
And that brings me to my other note here is that I wanted to say he had a bit of almost like autistic because he couldn't really pick up on social cues. But then I realized, no, this is like a sociopath. Like he
Yeah,
doesn't
like that
understand basic human
scene.
behavior.
Yeah, like that scene where he's at the comedy club. He's sitting by
Yes,
himself. Yeah,
yes, I
he's
have that.
laughing at the points where it's not funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and then when everybody else is laughing, he's kind of quiet and looking around. And near the end of that scene, he just started laughing
Hmm.
with the crowd
Hmm.
because the people were laughing. So he didn't get it, but he was
Hmm.
still trying to do it.
Yeah.
And then you kind of saw a little bit more of that again when he was rehearsing for the talk show host or for the
Yeah.
talk show.
Hmm.
He's just trying to act like a person. He's trying to understand that, and it's just not him.
So okay, so in those scenes where he's practicing by himself, and also earlier on in the movie where he's like playing with the gun and dancing and stuff like that. That scene reminded me of a movie so much that
Pulp
uh
Fiction.
no, well, the dancing part.
Yeah.
Um, it reminded me of Taxi Driver.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and the reason why I say that was because there's that scene where it's just a very intimate scene with just one person on camera. They're not really cutting that much, and all that person is doing is just pure acting.
It's a personal moment
Space.
into his
Yeah.
mind. Yeah.
Yeah. It's that famous scene that you know of, the one where Robert De Niro looks at the mirror and well, it's not even a mirror. He's just look looking at the wall, and it looks like he's looking at a mirror. So, anyways, he says, "Are you talking to me?" That famous
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
That's basically how I felt when I was watching this, and I was like looking around, and I was like, "Wow, this is very reminiscent to that." And the funny thing is, like, Robert De Niro is also in the movie too.
Yeah, I
And
know. I noticed. I was gonna say that too right now.
yeah, and then watching it more and more, I'm starting to think, wow, this is a really big open letter to Taxi Driver. Like the whole entire
Yeah.
vibe and the style is very Taxi Driver because I mean, I didn't watch the Taxi Driver when I was a kid. I watched it when I was in the college years, and watching it, it kind of gives me a different vibe of movies that we don't get these days anymore. Like the movies that were made back in the days, it's very artistic because you're getting the emotions. You don't know where the story is going.
Hmm.
Especially with Taxi Driver, we know that Robert's character is going through a tough time, very poorly,
Hmm.
working at a regular job, and he's not able to get the girl that he wants because of his martial status, and he's not making anything at all. He's living in the worst condition possible, and you're
Right.
going through this whole thing like trying to figure out, oh, I want the best for this person.
Hmm.
You always want the
Yeah.
best for the main
It's
person.
it's a Breaking Bad moment. Like you really shouldn't like this character, but because of their situation, you connect with them.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with the Joker. You want good things to happen for him, but it keeps
Yeah.
going downhill.
Oh no, my girlfriend flat out told me like that scene where he became the Joker.
Hmm.
She said that was attractive because he's just so confident and he was quote unquote feeling himself. uh yeah, again, like that he had like a lot of swagger and too and all that stuff. And it's you really know you shouldn't like this guy, but something about him like like I was rooting for him this entire time, and now he's finally reaching that point where yes, he's finally things are finally something's finally going his way to some extent.
Hmm.
Um, so some other things I want to point out about the movie, not just the character, the Joker, which there's a bunch we want to say about him. Uh, Bruce Wayne's dad, they made him a little Trumpish. Did you notice that?
Yeah, he's like a
Uh,
celebrity, and
ce-
he's kind of full of himself.
Celebrity, yeah, becoming a politician, businessman becoming a politician. Uh, a very big class warfare thing here. He's rich. There's Gotham City's poor. I mean, the Joker, and like other people around him, like they're starving. Again, like they show him shirtless. He's pretty much a skeleton.
So,
Uh,
when you found out that there was that detail that he was, uh, related to the Waynes,
yeah,
my reaction was like, "Holy crap, that's different." And then
uh,
the reveal later that it was not. It's kind of
yeah.
like, oh, okay.
Well, that's also a reference to well, two things. There is a Elseworld comic where the Joker is uh Bruce Wayne's half brother or related to Bruce Wayne in some way,
Hmm.
and that's why they become nemesis, or
Hmm.
to some extent they become nemesis because they're there's the same two sides of the same coin of
Yeah,
the family.
and realistically, I think I do believe that there is a possibility that Thomas Wayne
Yeah,
bought it all off.
yeah, there's a little uncertainty, but the other thing they're referencing there too is that mental illness or other issues like this tend to run in the family.
Hmm.
Even though in this one he is adopted, the mom's psychological problems led to him, becoming physically injured, which caused his
Mental
mental
illness. Yeah.
instability.
Hmm.
Yeah. So there's so many layers to this freaking movie, dude. Another thing I want to point out too is the time era this takes place in. It's a turn of the century, classic Batman that we know. Um, Kind of early day, probably what 1940s, I would say,
Hmm. Hmm.
1950s.
It's got those
Um,
box like wood TVs.
yeah, old like, boxwood TVs, black and white, all this stuff. And a part of me was like, okay, that's interesting time period that they picked, but also I think they want to they want to make an homage to the classic Joker while also separating the social commentary from being too direct from what we see nowadays. Again, the class warfare, which is we see now. They think that, right now there's a lot of people feeling that the poor are being ignored by the rich, and the rich keep getting richer and stuff like that. Which is another reason why they made Thomas Wayne probably more Trump-like than they intended to.
Mm-hmm.
But also on the show, on the talk show, that one scene where he makes a very inappropriate joke, and the lady next to him, the old doctor, was it Dr. Sally, Dr.
Sally,
forgot what it
something.
was. Yeah, she says, "Oh my, you can't make that joke. That's not funny. Blah blah blah. Like, that's inappropriate." That's a clear reference to our society now, where we can't make jokes about certain topics
Mm-hmm.
because somebody's bound to get offended.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, that's very subtle." And then and then the Joker pretty much says all the stuff flat out. Like that monologue that he makes about nowadays you can't make jokes about certain things because it'll upset people. Uh, people see him the way he is, or if he was anybody else, the stuff he says wouldn't offend people, blah blah blah, stuff like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff could easily be plugged in to something nowadays, and that's the part that I feel scares me the most. Is like that kind of connected the movie with the times we live in now, and I think that's what made, like, I can easily see somebody that's unstable trying to lash out the way he did.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this movie has a lot to say about society nowadays, and I think it's a very. I think this movie itself is a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those. I, I want us to hear a lecture about this movie,
Mm-hmm.
like one of those film appreciation courses. I want to hear a lecture about this. I
Mm-hmm.
want to see what kind of, like, what level of dissection this movie can undertake.
Mm-hmm. I can
Just so
already see
much.
like a bunch of like YouTube videos once the movie goes on to a Blu-ray or something. Yeah, they're
Oh,
probably going to be
uh,
talking about it a lot.
oh yeah, I can't wait to see behind the scenes stuff on this.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we already rated this, but quick question: how would you feel about this being tied to the new Batman movies?
It's not going to be tied in.
Mm,
Or,
there's some theories, or
okay, so
there's some theories about how they might connect it if they wanted to.
okay, so for me, how I think it would connect is to not involve Joaquin Phoenix, is to have Jared Leto as kind of like the new Joker who was inspired from Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
Yeah, so that's the theory that people are saying, because there is a an Elseworld, I don't know Elseworld, but there is a comic storyline called the Three Jokers.
Mm-hmm.
The classic Joker,
Mm-hmm.
the I forgot which Joker the middle one is, but it kind of reminds you of Mark Hamill's Joker,
Mm-hmm.
and the new Joker, which is kind of Jared Leto's style, like the short hair, more punkish,
Yeah,
like kind of guy,
like gangster.
um, gangster kind of thing. Yeah. So they're saying that Jared Leto can be the modern Joker, Joaquin Phoenix can be the original Joker, the first Joker, and whoever, uh, and they could use a like a middle Joker there to kind of complete the three Jokers, and then eventually have the three Joker storyline, uh, be brought to fruition. I
Yeah,
personally don't want this to happen.
yeah,
I think this is a good movie by itself. Just leave it alone.
yeah. Joaquin already said he's not going to do this ever again. He says too much.
It is too much. This
Mm-hmm.
is, I mean, as greedy as network executives want to be, I think this would give more credibility to the studio by not doing anything further with this movie other than just standalone
Mm-hmm.
one movie, done deal, which is what the director wanted. It's what Joaquin Phoenix wanted. That was the original deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, Anton. Final thoughts on Joker?
Um, Man,
Yeah.
it's hard to not
It's a
critique it
mind.
even more. I mean, you have to watch it a couple times to catch a lot of things that you didn't catch the first time on this one. I know that for sure. Um,
Oh, we didn't even talk about Zazie Beetz' character. That
yeah.
was one thing that like it answered a question that I kept asking my girlfriend.
Hmm.
Because every time she was on scene, I was like, "Where's her daughter? Where's like she's a single mother. Where's her daughter?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, again, that's another avenue of this movie that we didn't even touch on.
Yeah.
That's another
I really
conversation.
like how okay, so I love her acting. I wish
Yeah.
she's in more movies. And we're starting to see her in a lot more, which is good.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think she's the way that she portrays her character in this one, like I totally buy it.
Yeah.
The only part that you don't buy is the where's
The
it
daughter.
about her? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's only if you're paying attention to
Mm.
that. Also one of the she joins the club of people who have transitioned from, well, I guess technically at the time it wasn't Marvel, but it's now Marvel to DC.
Oh yeah, that's right. Mm.
Yeah, she's part of the club now. All right, Anton. You already given our rating, so I think that's it. So if people want to continue our fascination and examination of the Joker, how can they do that?
They can do that by going to our website at www.the2oc.com and maybe buy some stickers, t-shirts, or maybe a hat. And if there was something that we talked about on the show, like the Infiniti Saga box set, they can click on any of the link to do a pre-order. Any purchase on Amazon gives us a little kickback as long as any of the link is visited on Instagram, Twitter, or on our website.
Yep. So to click on those links, you can go to our Twitter at the2OC. You can also find us at the2OC on Instagram and Facebook. You can also send us an email to mail@the2oc.com. And something I haven't been saying in a while, but please give us a review on iTunes. That also helps us get discovered by moving us up on the iTunes search results, and just kind of helping us out that way. Give us 5 stars. I dare you.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audio book download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/the2oc. There are over 180,000 titles to choose from, and you can use it on your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or even an MP3 player.
You.
Mm-hmm.
So I recommend, I guess we recommend, as we talked about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
The Ride of a Lifetime, which is Bob Iger's memoirs.
Mm-hmm. And also
Uh,
The Golden Compass, any of the series.
oh, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
On here, it's funny because I've always heard him as Bob Iger. On the book cover, it's Robert Iger.
Yeah.
Oh, Bobby. All right, Anton. I think that's it, right?
Yep.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right. For the 2OC, I'm Al Flores.
And I'm Anton Duan. See ya.
Have a good one, guys.